What's going on, everybody, man? Y'all know what it is. I'm your boy Pitts. This is Through the Eye of the Tiger. And of course, we got Tiger, Coach Bernard Clark Jr. It's going down Robert Morris University football. You got Pitts and BC Day today. What's going on with you, Coach?
Doing well. Everything's going good. Enjoying the process. That's all you can do. Just keep enjoying the process. Process God has you in. Make sure your mind's right. Make sure your body's right. Try to keep your peace.
Absolutely. 1000% agree. Given the week that has transpired within the federal government, but we ain't going to talk about that.
Well, we're not.
Um,
especially now with Thanksgiving right around the corner. You know, two things you don't talk about at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you're right. You're completely right about that. And we're gonna be thankful and keep it moving.
100%.
And let's talk about Robert Morris Colonials against Mercyhurst last week. It wasn't in the victorious column. It was I see first half defense played well. It was a 6-0 ball game. Then in the second half, Wagner was able. I mean, not Wagner, but I apologize. Mercyhurst was able to come out and get 14 in the third. You guys got 7, and then each tied for 7 in the fourth quarter. Coach, just take us through that game and how things developed out.
Well, it's like you said, we started out well. Mercyhurst, they won the coin toss, but they elected to receive, and they were able to drive it down and put 3 points on the board, but our guys were able to hold them 3. So you look at it that way as a win. The tough part about it, we went in with Zach was hurt, Cooper was hurt, and so we went in with another quarterback. We started with Jake Wolf, and Jake started out strong, giving us some momentum. The guy that's really been carrying the load for us all year long has been Ethan. Ethan Shine has done an outstanding job, not only running the ball, but also catching the ball out of the backfield. And we just, it was one of those days, man, we just weren't connecting on a lot of things. Receivers dropped some balls, balls weren't getting there. So some tough things. And then later on in the third quarter, we ended up losing Jake. And we put Amir Dudley in there, next quarterback behind him. And so we finished up the game with Amir. Again, it was one of those situations where Ethan did a good job of carrying us. And defensively, it's one of those things where guys just, I don't know, second half they didn't come out as strong as they were in the third quarter. Fourth quarter they finished like they always do, but third quarter they didn't play as well as they're capable of doing. Missed a lot of tackles. I think we had another double digit. I think it was like 20-something missed tackles, and most of them came in the second half. So it's one of those things where our guys they're still fighting, they're still finishing, they're not quitting on us, but they're just, things aren't going the way we want them to go. Still not being victorious in a lot of these games because, the ball's not bouncing our way, especially with the fact that we got 1, 2, 3 injured quarterbacks now. So we still try to figure this whole thing out with the quarterback situation.
When you talk about running back Ethan Shine, you guys got on the ground. You got 181 yards rushing on the ground this past week.
Yeah.
You can't just highlight the rushing game and, the way they were able to, seemingly keep you guys, in the float despite, a third quarterback going down in 2 weeks. Talk about the way the running game has seemingly stepped up, in moments to help carry that load.
Well, that's the positive thing about it, not just the running game, but the offensive line has been able to step up a little bit and keeping us in the games the way we need to stay in the games. But, you can't just win running the ball. I guess you can, but we haven't been able to just win running the ball, should I say. We haven't been able to do that on our side. We want to make sure we can still pass and put ourselves in position to set it up because most teams just loaded the box up on us. That's what they've been doing, loading the box up and being able to try to shut Ethan down on certain plays and us not getting the passing game going the way we need to. Just hasn't been productive for us, So got to find a way to get that pass game working in the right direction along with the running game. And so hopefully we can do that this week.
When you talk about, losing your starting quarterback, right, then you lose your second quarterback, and then you lose your third quarterback, talk about the difficulty because in practice there's only so many reps, right? Mm-hmm. There's only so many practice reps, so many balls that can be given to a quarterback and practicing with the first team. And, of course, injuries are a part of the game, but when you go down 3 quarterbacks and you're on your 4th quarterback, just talk about, some of the challenges that you face as a team.
Well, exactly what you said. The tough part about it is when you get that quarterback in there who hasn't been playing all week or who's only been playing minimal reps all week, he doesn't have the timing with the receivers. He doesn't have the timing with the tight ends. even the handoffs and the fakes and things like that become crucial because when you're play action, you have to ride the running back a certain way. He's used to riding the quarterback a certain way on play action plays. So everything changes, timing changes, a lot of things change. You're trying to get all that rhythm within the fourth quarter, which in the third quarter, you're trying to get that rhythm going, and it's tough, man. It's a tough situation, especially when you're down, like you said, three quarterbacks, and now the fourth quarterback he's stepping in there again. He's a good player. He made the team and everything's going well. But when you haven't practiced all week with those guys and we're trying to rely on it, not only that, you got an O line. O line's used to protecting the pocket for a certain quarterback. It becomes a tough situation. So it's difficult. It is difficult because and I know the most important position on the field is quarterback. So when you don't have that rhythm that you have and things like that, it's tough. But the good thing about it, this week he has been getting the reps, whereas opposed to last week he wasn't getting as many reps. So he's getting the reps this week to make sure that he can be able to step up and get things rolling in the right direction. And the O line's been protecting him this week, and the running backs used to playing with him. So those things gel a little bit better, when you can practice throughout the week. It's just like you said, it's tough. It's a tough situation when you don't have that practice, those reps throughout it, because a lot of guys are rep guys, not just quarterback, but you're talking about wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. Everybody becomes rep guys, and they want to get those reps with that guy. And so that's the other thing that has to go with it. And the other thing is you got to play complementary football. You got to know what the situation is. And that's what I told the guys. The thing that was disappointing was we didn't go into the game knowing that we had a situation right off the bat. We're going into the game with a quarterback that hasn't started all year. We're going into the game with a new starting quarterback. Our team has to know that. Offense has to know that, things are going to be a little bit different. Defense has to know it's going to take a while for them to get gelled up and get going. Special teams has to know we got to make sure we're putting them in good position when it comes to, field position. We got to make sure those things are extremely important. So, again, that's a part of the essence and the nuances that you have to deal with when you're dealing with a brand new quarterback.
Not only that, you talk about the reps, but you also have to get that continuity as well with him and the O line and the timing. The receivers with him and the timing. The way the ball comes out of a quarterback's hands to that receiver. A lot of things matter when it comes to the switching at the helm of the quarterback position for those particular reasons. In addition to the strengths and the weaknesses, what was Zach's strengths or your number one quarterback strengths may be different than the strengths of the person down the pecking order. So when you talk about offensive play calling and then also going in with that game plan, you're game planning to the strength of the person who was that quarterback at that time. What are some of the challenges that you face in game when you lose multiple players at a position like that, as far as, trying to still be aggressive, but not overburden the QB at that moment?
Well, it goes back to what you just said. Probably the toughest thing is now the offensive coordinator is calling the plays for a different quarterback. He was ready to call it for this quarterback, and now he's got to call it for this quarterback. So it becomes a different set of plays. Now, the great thing about our offensive coordinator throughout the week, he asked all those guys. We have 5 quarterbacks on our team. He asked all those guys, what plays do you feel most comfortable with at that time? But he still's got to get into the rhythm of calling those plays. So that's probably the biggest difficulty when your offensive coordinator has to change his game plan and change his way of thinking in certain situations. It's different when you have a quarterback who hasn't practiced all week and now he's backed up at the -3. It's different when you have a quarterback, now he's in the red zone, and he maybe didn't only got 2 reps in the red zone. Okay, do we do these 2 plays, or do we do the array of plays that we have in the red zone? So that becomes a difficult situation. So it's more about play caller, and it's a big differentiation. Now you got to figure out, okay, which formations do he feel most comfortable with? What personnel does he feel most comfortable with? All those things become a serious burden that you have to overcome in order to be victorious.
And, I want to highlight another player. We talk about complementary football. I loved everything that I've been seeing from Jason Jenkins.
Absolutely.
Your kicker, man. Can you just highlight and talk about, everything that Jason brings to your special teams unit?
Well, the great thing that he brings to the special team unit is his leadership. When we're on the field doing practice, he's the one working with those kickers and working with the snappers and stuff like that on the side when the coach can't be there, when we're not in the special teams unit. He's on the side making sure things are running in the right direction. He's done a great job all year, punting the ball, kicking the ball, and everything else. And the great thing about Saturday, we had an opportunity to finally run a fake. And here's the crazy part, Pitch. No, I told the special teams squad, I said, look, we're going to run the fake right here, the fake punt right here. But obviously they come out and punch safe. We can't run it. So they lined up and punch safe. But Jason still saw something that we didn't see. So when he lined up and he got ready he rolled out like he was going to rugby kick it. And he noticed that the two linebackers were able to get to their blocks. My man Jace took off. And when he took off, he was able to run it down to the 15-yard line. And he was like, Coach, man, I should have scored. I said, yeah. If you'd have set the block up, you would have scored, but you ain't set the block up. But he did a great job. I went over to him. I said, you weren't supposed to run. He kind of looked at me and laughed. And he did the old, first down, Coach.
Hey, listen, when you make it, it's a different conversation than when you don't get it.
Absolutely. But, he did a great job. Like I said, he saw something we didn't. But that's what you get when you have a veteran like Jason who's been with us for the last 5 years. He's been a part of our team for the last 5 years. He knows the things that go well with it. And he saw an opportunity. He took advantage of that opportunity, put us in a position. And unfortunately, we didn't punch it in the end zone. See, now that goes back to what I was saying. Now you got a quarterback now you're in the red zone. You got a quarterback you've been calling it with. It's like, okay, what do we do now? We get it to the 5, and then we get first and goal, and we can't punch it in the end zone. We having to take a field goal for it. So that's the tough part about it, man. That's when it becomes a little tougher. But, Jason has been outstanding for us. I mean, like I said, not just as far as a field goal kick, but also as a punter, also as a fake guy, but also as a leader. He's been an outstanding captain for us all year long, and we're going to miss him. It's so crazy. Walked on the field today, looked at me and said, Coach, this is the last Wednesday. So, yeah, it's your last Wednesday. And those 5 years flew by. You don't even realize how quick it goes by. You got those veteran guys on the field this week, and it's like, hey, man, it's my last Monday, Coach. It's my last Tuesday, and they're counting it down. So it's a tough situation, man. We got some guys, like him and Nate, some other guys been here 5 years, and it's like, hey, man, it's over. It's over.
Man, shout out to Jason.
Definitely one of the 100%.
Man. I was messing around with him when I came to the game last week against Wagner, and I was looking at him, but I'm looking like something's different. And I'm like, wait, you changed your number?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah. I'm staring at him like, wait, did Jason?
Yeah, he asked me at the beginning of the year because he was wearing a number that a kicker wore when I first got here. That's
like
the number he was wearing.
49,
49,
I think.
And when he came into his senior year, he said, Coach, man, you mind changing my number? I said, why? He said, Coach, the last kicker, Nick, did a great job in 49. I kind of want to just wear my own number and try to leave my own legacy. I said, okay. I said, well, I'll give you 2. How about that? He's like, okay, Coach, I appreciate it. So,
hey, you already know how those single digit numbers work, Coach.
You know what? That's your generation. I think that's the problem. That's your generation, Pitch. These cats get so caught up in numbers. They say, hey, man, Coach, I need hey, man, that lower number ain't going to help you play any better. I guarantee you that.
It definitely not going to help. I think, so for me, I wasn't a lower number guy. I was a Barry Sanders fan, so I wanted 20 in everything I did.
I got you.
And, but in my era, though, when I played, though, the lower number guys, they actually still handled business. It was a pretty look to it. That's all it really was for them. But no, definitely shout out to Jason, man, and all the work and over the last 5 years and just, all the love that he has sent my way. I definitely appreciate him for that as well.
100%. 100%.
When is it normal for you to have a quarterback designation of 5 quarterbacks?
Yeah, anywhere from 5 to 6 sometimes we'll bring to camp because of that reason. Because, like you said, that's the most important position. You lose one guy, you got to be able to take a snap with the next guy. The crazy part about it, I'll tell you this, back in 23, we had to finish the season again the same exact way. Our quarterbacks got hurt, and we had a tight end transfer who was a quarterback when he first got to Eastern Michigan. He was a quarterback then, and they moved him to tight end. And he transferred to us his last year, his grad year. So the last game, we had to have him ready to play quarterback because at that time, Zach's knee had blew up and Zach couldn't run the way he was capable of running. And so it was one of those crazy situations where just in case we had to have a tight end ready. So this year, we're like, you know what, let's make sure this year and last, let's make sure we have at least 5 quarterbacks in the stable that can probably get the job done. But it's still a tough situation. Even with having 5, it's still tough because of the reasons you talk about. You only get 20 hours a week with these guys. Yeah. So they don't have a chance to take a whole lot of reps, like you said. They don't have a chance. So most of their reps are mental.
Mental.
Yeah, so they got to be ready, to get on that field after watching film and seeing things. They got to know the situation, down and distance personnel, and formations that they're getting. They got to know where the blitzes are coming from. They got to make the proper checks. So
Yeah.
all their reps are mental a lot of times when they have to get into the fire. Like you said last week when we had to go with the fourth quarterback, most of his reps that week have been mental. He had some
Yeah.
physical ones, don't get me wrong, but most of them had been mental. So when he got in there, he had to be ready for the situation.
You know, this week we got the other guys coming in, the other
Yeah.
team in the city,
Yeah, the city team.
the
Yeah.
city team coming in.
Yeah.
How has practice been thus far this week leading up to the city team?
The great thing about our practice is mentally it's been a lot more focused. That's the positive thing. Kind of pull back on the physical a little bit, Pitts, and make it more mental. Make sure they know where they're going. What's because the thing about Duquesne's gonna do what Duquesne does. And I know I said their names, and normally I don't like saying their name, but
I was
I
looking
know,
at the camera like,
I know.
er?
Yeah, they gonna do it. They gonna do what they do. I mean, Coach Smith's done a great job. I think he's been there 20 years, and the city team hadn't changed. They're gonna do what they do. So you got to be ready for what they do. They do a great job of running the ball. The quarterback does a great job of handling their offense. Their defense is going to run to the ball. They're going to attack. They're going to be sound, and that's what they do. The city team has been like that since Coach Smith's been there. So that's what we got to get ready for. So mentally, we got to make sure we're properly placed where we're supposed to be. Our fits have to be properly placed where they're supposed to be on defense. Offensively, we got to know what the formation is, what they're going to give us, what covers they're going to give us. We got to know it's one high safety or two high safeties.
Yeah.
Our guys have to be mentally prepared. So this week, probably more mental preparation than we have physical preparation.
And for this week, being going into the last game of the season, what is our word of the week?
It's crazy. The word of the week is destination.
Mm.
And the reason for that, because our seniors, once they graduate, this is their last game, this is their last Wednesday, their last Tuesday. Okay, what's your destination? That comes back to last week's word, instruction and direction, because once you have instruction and direction, you can find your destination. And that's what we're trying to get our guys to understand. This is our last week. Have we finished the season where we want to? No. All of us are disappointed by the record we have. But there is a destination that we can handle, and that's on Saturday. We can take care of business. We talk about destination, a place worthy to travel.
Yeah.
Victory Lane is a place worthy to travel. You know what I'm saying? And the purpose which something is predetermined or destined. So we got to make sure we're putting ourselves in position to make this thing happen. So destination was the word of the week.
And how sweet would it be to land at a lovely destination with a victory at home against the city team?
Absolutely, 100%. And they all know that, and they're all working for that. The seniors, they all know what we can finish with. Only a 4-win season, but at the same time, we can win, like you said, with that type of destination at the end of the year against the city team. That's powerful. And the guys that have a great feeling about what they've done and how they went about doing it.
Man, you can, Coach, like when we talked, over 11 weeks ago, 12, 13 weeks ago, we highlighted a couple of things, how the team was fairly new, over 50 new players to the organization, right? And how the coaching staff there was some new movements to the coaching staff, right?
Yes.
Just talk about all the things that you have seen in the growth and how each week you've seen, your coaching staff get 1% better and you've seen your team get 1% better.
Well, I know it's crazy to say, especially when you're at 4-8 right now, but we have. When we started the season, like you said, we had 57 new players since December. We had 6 new coaches. So that's a lot trying to gel together. I've seen them come and work better together. As tough as the West Virginia game was and the Youngstown game was, we've improved each week as we've gotten better. We've played harder each week. We put ourselves in a position where we managed to pull out 3 victories. So they're still gelling. They're still coming together. But the crazy part about it is about to all go over again. Now, we're hoping we can keep some of these guys and not as many new guys have to come in when it comes to the portal and when it comes to graduation, because we're probably losing about 25 guys to graduation. We just got many guys who's about to get their degrees and stuff like that. Some guys that are walking. So we're going to lose those guys. And again, the portal's about to open, so you don't know who you're going to lose, who's going to be, who's not going to be. But we're hoping we can keep a lot of the young guys we played. That's the other positive thing. A lot of guys we played this year, this is really their first time playing. We got a lot of redshirt freshmen, on the offensive line, and transfers who are juniors. This is their first time playing. And defensive line, we got some young guys, some redshirt sophomores, redshirt freshmen, some guys first time playing, some true freshmen, able to play those 4 games. So we got some young guys we feel strongly about. Our wide receiver core, we feel real good about them. We're losing some good ones in Chaz Middleton and Thomas Lee and, our tight end Richard Ransom. But we're also with the young guys, Jakai and Galen and, Tyler Henry, who transferred from West Virginia, who hurt his knee earlier against West Virginia. We are able to redshirt him. So we got a good group of guys coming. And, like I said, hopefully we're going to get Coop back. Cooper's the quarterback. We'll have him for next year, who's a true freshman who's been able to get some snaps along with Jake Wood.
Yeah. Seems like Coach froze up a little bit right here. We were talking about. Oh, okay.
Again,
I got you.
We're going to keep rolling. Yeah. We're going to keep it moving. Our guys are going to come together and play well. Practice has been good. It's been a good job with practice. The guys have been focused at practice, playing hard, complimenting each other. Special teams is going well. Defense is going well. Offense is going well. So as a team, we're gelling, and we're hoping that gel, leads into Saturday where we can play together and play hard as a team and come out victorious. Those are things we're looking forward to do. And not only that, now you're getting ready for the all season. Get ready for recruits. You got recruiting coming. You got recruiting, one of those situations where you got this guy and that guy. And
all right, it seems like we lost Coach, but Coach was alluding to, the fact that he has 25 students that will be graduating and walking this year, and talking about, the players that he seek to keep from not hitting out the portal. And, listen, those things happen. But this week, Robert Morris plays against their rival in the City League, so it's definitely going to be an interesting one. And, Coach's word of the week this week was destination. And what better way to land that destination spot against an opponent, your rival, the City team, Duquesne University, at home for senior day. It gets no better than that for the Colonials to go out, victoriously at home, senior day, against a team that they despise so much and for so very long. So we're looking forward to seeing, Robert Morris bounce back this week in the win column against a team that, listen, Coach surprised me when he said their name. He hasn't said the name in a while, but listen, it's going down. Again, Coach has some technical difficulties, and actually Coach is back with us. So we'll go ahead and finish up with Coach as we bring him back.
Here we go. All back on. Yeah, I don't know if they got me. I don't know if they got the rest of me or got the rest of you. I'm not sure who they got on that last segment there, but we're back together again.
No. You were good. Actually, it cut out on you when you were talking about, just complementary football, the offense and defense, just, playing as one. And I was basically recapping our conversation, from, the team, and then also your word of the week being destination. And I said, what week would it be? Would it be to not only land your destination at home on senior day against your rival, the City team? It'd be nothing better than that, even though the rest of the season didn't go as planned. But going out on top always feels amazing.
Yeah, and you and I always talk about it. There's no such thing as winning and losing, only winning and learning. So we are learning from this. And like I said, when you ask me about the new coaches and the new players, we're all learning. We're all growing. We're putting ourselves in a new position. Had a new offense, and that's probably the biggest thing. Had a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator, along with a lot of new position coaches. So hopefully, and again, that's what I don't know. I don't know what coaches are going to be back. So that's the other crazy thing. Sometimes when a coach has been successful at a certain position, somebody may come in and say, hey, let's go ahead and take this guy. So you may have a new coach you have to bring in, so you got to break in. So, again, I'm going into spring ball with a positive mindset. I'm going to winter workouts with a positive mindset come January. But more importantly, we got to go into this recruiting field and got to find some replacement killers. We got to hit this field and go see who we can get out there and see what's going on. We've been looking at a lot of different high school guys, a lot of different junior college guys. The portal doesn't open this year. The portal last year opened in December. It doesn't open this year until January 2nd. So it goes, I think it's from January 2nd until like the 15th. So it's not going to be open that long, and it's going to be a
Right.
short period of time. So you got to jump in there as soon as it opens. Now the portal for D2 is open, so we've been looking at that also. So there's a lot of avenues that we're going to check out to make
Yeah.
sure we get the right players in here with the right character, with the right mindset, and making sure they're going to fit and gel with what we do. Because the last thing you want to do is upset the apple cart by bringing the wrong guy in here. What I
Absolutely.
one bad apple,
Spoils a bunch.
So want to make sure we're good there. So, and again, so the guys have been positive. It's been a positive week. We got one more day of preparation tomorrow that I feel good about. Just reviewing the things we need to review. But like I said, the good thing about a team in the city, they're gonna be the team in the city. They're gonna do what they do. Ain't nothing new, ain't nothing happened, no frills. They're a hard-nosed football team who's well coached, who gets after it.
Absolutely. It's going down this week. Robert Morris University against the city team, 2 p.m. at Joe Walton Stadium. Let's get it.
Let's make it happen. Let's do what we do. Let's make sure we stay positive, stay strong, and stay focused. And let's go, Bobby Moe.
Listen, man, we appreciate you guys for sharing your Wednesdays with us. And like you said, the destination is victoriously this week. Robert Morris University, Joe Walton Stadium against those guys down the block, the city team. Coach slipped. I'm surprised Coach said it. I was actually had to do a double take when I heard him say the name. But listen, man, y'all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. And listen, man, let's go Bobby Moe.
Let's make it happen.